One thing that really popped out and jumped off the page for me, and when you look at this last year's playoff performance, I think for the Toronto Maple Leafs, round one, Mitch Marner was lights out against Tampa. But without that being overshadowed, Willie Nylander showed me like he's a gamer. When they need something, he's a guy that steps up, and that means so much for me when I'm looking at players. And I think we're starting to see more and more that this guy can take over.
Yeah.
And I think we overlook him, deservingly so, because Austin Matthews is the guy there, deservingly so. He's unbelievable. And Mitch Marner, unbelievable. He might be the best winger in the NHL. But then there's this guy. And that's what makes this all interesting, Johnny. I don't know how this plays out with the Toronto Maple Leafs, but what I do know is they've got a stud here that I think we haven't even seen how high he can go. I don't know what his ceiling is for Willie Nylander.
Well, after Austin, he's physically the most capable Toronto Maple Leaf forward. As great as Mitch Marner is, and he is unquestionably great, he's going to be on the list somewhere else further up.
Definitely.
But when it comes to just physical skills, Willie is very strong. He's, you think of what a hockey build would be like, that kind of very strong lower half, the legs, and because he doesn't hit anyone, you're like, well, how physical is he? Well, when he wants the puck back or when he wants to keep it from you, he's very, very good at it.
Good point.
And because he carries himself with that sort of aloof, floating above the world demeanor, it doesn't look like he's trying that fast. So you try to catch him. You're like, oh, I can't catch him. I can't take the puck off him. I can't knock him off his stride. And the other part about his offensive repertoire, he's got a really great release. Now, I cover the Toronto Maple Leafs all the time. Big old toe curve, massive toe curve. But he puts the puck right on that tip of that toe and flexes the stick, and he can beat goaltenders. We saw it many times, 35, 40 feet. Wristers, doesn't need to take slappers, scoring a lot of different ways. And you touched on part of his identity is that the way he carries himself, the way he dresses. I think that helps him.
Yeah.
In Toronto, where there's a lot of scrutiny, there can be a lot of criticism for everyone, whether as good as William Nylander, Mitch Marner, Austin Matthews, whoever. When you're able to just sort of brush it all off, and I think there's legitimacy to the fact that nothing really bothers William Nylander. He doesn't read the paper. He's not hung up on what people are saying about him. He shows up at the rink every day. He's like, well, they're mad at us today? Like, he has no idea. And I think that allows him to be excellent and not have it bother him. So I think that makeup, which we celebrate, also for this market, helps him and helps him believe in himself because he's got a contract to get, Rupper.
Yeah.
And he's Austin Matthews.
And he's going to get it.
And he's going to deserve it.
He's been severely underpaid.
Big time.
In what he has there. And this is where it gets interesting, and we could do a whole show on this, so we won't. But when Austin just got his deal, and I've always said it last season, Johnny, we've talked about it numerous times, Austin should be the highest paid player in hockey right now until Connor gets his next deal. He is, but here's where it gets interesting. Mitch Marner's not all that far off of that number. And he, like I said, is one of the best, maybe David Pastrnak I'd put in front of him as far as best wingers in hockey. So what's he going to ask for? And then let's not forget about Willie, because Willie has the potential to be the man on a team. He might not ever be the man on this team, but he should get paid like one of the guys, right?
Yeah.
And so he's going to demand a high number, and it'll be very interesting what Toronto can figure out here, because there's other teams that would gladly make him the man and pay him handsomely.